always have to get so close to my computer.
Hi, Karine.
Hello, Catherine. We've spent
It's,
most of the day together today. It's been
oh, I
lovely.
know. Wednesday's a good, fun, wonderful
It
day.
is. Well, let's fast forward really quickly. I'm looking forward to 7 o'clock. It's 6 o'clock now, but 7 o'clock with our book club. So just again, a reminder to anybody that wants to join. It's a fantastic group, and there's no homework. And if you don't feel like reading, others read for you. So you literally can just sit and enjoy and listen if that's the type of mood you're in, which I was. I don't know if you noticed, maybe, can't remember if it was not, I missed one last week for a hockey game, but it might have been the week before.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted to be like, I wanted to come to book club, but I just didn't feel like reading. I just felt like listening and taking back and listening to everybody else. And I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, you didn't do much reading. You didn't do any reading, actually. However, it was nice to share later because you hear differently when you're
Yeah.
listening.
Yeah, that is so true. Speaking of listening, we did not listen at lunchtime today. We were presenting, you and I and Jean. We did our Energize Your Life free 1 hour workshop at lunchtime today about the physical pillar. And, I think those that are here in Dockside know it's one of I call it my pet pillar. You have your pet pillars. And I joke, I know we love all 5 of our pillars, but the physical pillar for me, and for those that are not heard this, my mom suffered from a pretty significant mental illness her whole life. And what I learned was that how important it is to take care of yourself, your physical self, your body, what you feed it, how active you can try to maintain. She was she wasn't quite a quadriplegic by the time she passed away this spring, but she was in a wheelchair. And it's an emotional experience, loving somebody who doesn't have the ability to literally physically walk. So I've made, I'm 52. I touch wood. Hope I have many, many active years ahead of me, but I'm making that commitment to myself now, and my children for that matter. I want to walk into my grave. I know that sounds terrible, and I shouldn't probably say that out loud, but I really do. I'm going to do everything I can to be physically active as long as I can. So it's a decision. And this, being the physical pillar for you, I know you've decided you're going to commit significantly to it. You was committed to your mental pillar, and everybody knows how revolutionary that was for all. We're thankful that you've focused on your physical pillar. Look what has come out of it for the benefit to all of us. So curious to see and hear about your journey, and even why you decided the physical pillar was going to be your focus right now. Did you have anything in particular where you're just like, it's time to focus on that one?
Because in my head, I know it's something you can work on and make an impact fast. And
True.
it's life-changing. And it complements, like there's an order for me. Like all the years I've been doing it, there's an order. The order of, I social all the time. We're in here. Social, spiritual is just, I took the journey for years.
You
So
did. Yeah.
I've done spiritual to a point that I could sit here and meditate in 15 seconds and nobody will know I'm meditating.
Right.
That's to the degree I did that. So
It's a
I'm
skill. You've honed a
very,
skill.
I,
Yeah.
and it's not a change
I
in
don't
me.
have that skill.
Well, when you get it, the thing with spiritual and social, you make commitments that you adapt to your life that you don't revisit. But the mental pillar is always growth and growing and growing and growing. You revisit that. Like once you learn to meditate, you learn to meditate. So as long as you continue to do it, you don't forget. Like I
I'm
pulled
smiling
cards
because I would add the financial pillar in that one. You kind of have to work at it all the time. You can't
all the time.
necessarily like sit back
All
on
the
your
time.
laurels and be like, I don't need to focus on that anymore.
Exactly.
Have to.
So for me, my social and
Ball.
my spiritual are the
Yeah.
last ones I'll dive deep within the community. Though I think the community will benefit from it.
Oh yeah.
I selfishly said, I want to do the journey with a few people. And I've done the journey for the physical pillar. I know what it could be when you have clarity. So I felt after mental, physical is the next one. And financial, my financial goal is very high and it's clear. So financial will be probably the third one, but or spiritual, we'll figure it out. it'll depend what the people need. But for me personally,
Yeah.
physical, you ask the question, and here's the answer. The answer is what I wanted at 20 is not the same as I want at 60.
I was about just to draw the analogy between the financial pillar and your physical pillar, because your financial situation in your 20s compared to in your 40s, compared to in your 60s, same thing with your physical pillar is what you're working with in your 20s compared to your 40s, compared to your 60s, it evolves, it changes. You never stay the same.
You know, when you have children, you want maybe the big home with everything in it. Now, what do you want? Maybe downtown condo in Vancouver and in the hills in Cape Breton,
Right.
something on the ocean. Or maybe I want to go to live in Ireland or Italy, where I wouldn't even have thought of that in my 30s. So I am going with because we talk about the physical pillar today, what we talked about was the basics of it. I'm going to say that the physical pillar is going to be, when we launch the signature program, we'll probably try the mental and the physical together. And I won't be surprised if it's a 12-week program.
Yeah, no, I understand
because, you know, when you talk about the physical and you talk about so many things that gets broken down further. It's not just exercise, as
No,
you know.
it's not. And remember how Jean was speaking to sugar and how it like and how sleep affects your cortisol, which is, something that is created within your body, part of your system, your physical system of your human body, and how that affects your sleep, which then of course affects your mental mood. He said, I won't forget this. He said 3 nights in a row of less than 4 hours sleep is clinical insomnia. And insomnia is a trigger for so many mental,
with
challenges.
More than 45% of the population, Canadian population, like 12% up within that 45% suffer from insomnia.
Yeah.
And it gets harder as you get older.
And even as we're quoting the things, I'm thinking in my head, I need to watch the replay. So if anybody's watching this and you want a copy of the replay, we are giving a part 2 to this Energize Your Life in December. I think remind me, December 11th at 7:00, right, Katherine?
December 12th. December 12th. Easy for me to remember my father's birthday.
Oh, that's so great. My brother's birthday is the 13th. So I'll try to remember your father's too. So we're asking people, sign up for part B. We'll give you part A if you missed it, or if those that were there, if you want the recording, we're happy to share, because quite frankly, we crammed a lot into that 1 hour. It was a lunch hour. And I know Jean had more to share. I had more to share. We tried to sort of, to your point, we try to hit the basics as best we could, but I just felt there was so much of a reminder of, we all hear, if you exercise, it creates dopamines are the good hormones make you feel happy, it affects your mood, but there's so much more to it. So
well,
it's exciting.
Even something really simple, like how are you accessorizing that lovely black dress? And you may say, what? Well, do you know you can have one dress in your closet and make it look different and wear the same dress every day of the week?
Right. But this, I use the analogy of the actual literal reason why interior decorators use warm and cool tones. When you live in a very hot climate, you don't normally use warm tones because it actually can affect your body temperature when you're in an environment of use cooler tones in the tropics, and just things like that, where you realize, like, it goes beyond what you see in the mirror, your physical pillar.
So today, what got my attention, and we'll talk more on the physical pillar, because this is the journey.
Okay.
And it's crazy, it's wonderful. But here's the thing that caught my attention, and I had to ask the question. I love this. So sleep is in 4 stages, 1, 2, 3, 4. And there's so much
that happens at each stage, right?
And you go through, and you listen to Jean's replay, really. There's cycles of it. So if I sleep 4 hours, which that's my bad sleep pattern, all I'm doing is repairing my mental.
which
And
is
that's why
good.
I'm not, it's great,
Right.
but I'm not repairing my body. I'm not
No, you're
repairing those
only
cells.
you're only repairing the cells that have been destroyed in your brain from the daily use or triggers or whatever, you know, stress, everything that causes your brain cells to. I looked at his photos and I'm like, it's like they've been electric shocked, right? It's like, here's a healthy cell and here's
And
the
you need
bad
to know,
cell.
when I introduced Jean to you, I knew you would love him.
I
But
love
I've known
him.
Jean when he was repairing those boards that he talked about. I invested in a
The
company,
for
and
those
he
of you that weren't there, it was the hold on. Oh, the actual not membranes. What am I trying to memory boards? No,
boards.
the computer. They're mostly for machines to know how to
Computer. If you ever ran a word processor,
oh, golly.
IBM, whatever, they used to have these boards with
Yeah.
all of the plugs. And he took that and explained it. But that's when I met him in my
Yeah.
20s.
Isn't that
And
funny?
and he studies this. And I've got to tell you, the key is, okay, dial it back. You're talking to me. Just tell me what I need to do, will you?
Yeah.
And he knows, and he's fun and funny. And I think as a woman, we want to know about collagen. We worry about age and skin. Those are the things, you know. Yes, we worry about living long lives, healthy, but
Yeah.
there's other things that may be a little superficial because they're obvious to us when we look in and we see wrinkles coming up. Well, and to know that sleeping can help with that.
I know it was my big joke in my intro when I was introducing him months ago when we did a different workshop with him. What one did we do? I guess the first
We had him as a guest speaker.
we had him as a guest speaker, thank you, and he was talking all about hormones and things like that and diet and nutrition because he's first thing I want to say is what I love about Jean is he inspires me in the sense that he just does this because he's passionate about it. He has this knowledge because he has taken the time to educate himself. It's not like, I mean, he practically is a doctor. He basically probably has more knowledge than the majority of dietitians, nutritionists, et cetera, out there all put together. But it just goes to show you, we can access this type of information. If you're interested in learning, first of all, come see us and talk to, let Jean introduce you. But these are things you can work on your own. This is not something that has to be like, I've learned all I could know and now I'm stuck with what I have. It's like, no, if you have something you want to work on, go for it. Let's do that. Because I'll tell you, my first foray into this was after I had kids. So I was mid-30s and I wasn't losing the weight that I thought I would, lose like you do when you gain weight with pregnancies. And that's when I first learned about cortisol. My doctor, my OBGYN, was explaining that I was now at a phase in my life where I had 4 young kids. I still had a career. I had a husband. I had a house. I had a mortgage. We had all these stresses that I didn't have in my 20s. And she's like, well, that's why your body responds differently, because you have a lot throughout your bloodstream and throughout your nervous system and throughout all the things inside your body. It's different. You have different things happening now. And I was like, back in the day, you'd think, I need to lose 2 pounds. When you're in your 20s, you're like, okay, I'll just, exercise a little bit more, or maybe, cut back on my dessert for a couple of days or whatever. But it's different. Your body changes. It changes.
And I'm going to add something else that really caught my attention. Because if you're in here and you're 20 or 30, or if you're in here and you are responsible for a young teenager, 20, 30. I have a son going to law school right now. Karine has 4 children that have finished school or going to school.
One's finished, 3 are still going. Yeah.
But the thing is, there are things that affect their sleep too. It's not just when they have an exam and they can't sleep and they just pop a melatonin. Like, maybe this information is going to change my son's life. Today's 1-hour conference is going to change my son's life.
So I immediately, my sister isn't on Facebook, so she's not here, but she's a Sage Navigator. She texted me immediately afterwards and said, I need to learn more about magnesium.
Me too.
Her nugget was, I need to know this. And so she is going to do research. And I know this is what I mean. Everybody, when you guys join us and you listen, I can't, well, actually we do guaranteed. If you pay for something and you do not get a nugget of information that's valuable or something out of it, we'll give you your money back. These are
And you know
free
what?
workshops.
Jean's in our community in Dockside.
Yeah.
You write the comment. You want to know about magnesium?
Yeah.
We'll write it for your sister.
Yeah.
When we get the answer, we'll
That's a
send
great
it to
idea.
her.
I will
But
cut
we're
and
going to
paste it.
comment about magnesium, and Jean's going to answer.
I
And you
know.
know, and you're going to see a lot of Jean, because like you see Karen Postema with the mental wealth pillar, well, Jean's going to be very involved closely.
You have no idea. It requires all of my restraint to not be texting or asking Jean 1,000 questions every time I see him. I really do. I have so many questions because I know if he doesn't know the answer, which I'm 99% sure he would figure it out. He would find out and get back to me. That's how awesome he is.
So you don't want to miss the next one. I'm going to load it up right now. So if you go to the website, it's not there, but you'll register within the next 15 minutes. I will have it up there. But know one thing. There will be a series that'll come out
Yeah.
for the next couple of months. We're staying on Energize Your Life. We're staying on a different point when it comes to physical wealth. We're focusing.
And you know how sometimes people say like, this content is for you if you're this kind of person, or we are not trying to get people to look in the mirror and lose weight. That is not what we're about at all. Like, that's what you're looking for. Don't come to us. Like, that's not
No, we're not dietitians. Here's the thing.
No.
This content is for you if you want to live a happy, healthy, longer life. If you want tidbits of information that you can apply, manageable application. If you want to understand things like if you want to understand, is
magnesium,
there anything I can do for arthritis because I'm feeling my bones a little? Jean gave us something because he felt uncomfortable with his hand. He went to the doctor who was going to prescribe him medicine. He went home and got this gadget to do this exercise, started taking some vitamins, and he doesn't have the same issues with his hand.
Right. And that is not to say, again, if somebody prescribes you medication, don't not take it just because you think you might not need it. You have to do your own research and you have to find the right people to ask the right questions to.
So you now try something, you go to your doctor and you say, like, you know, what do you think of this? And then when the doctor says yes, go. And if the doctor says no, say why. Because even a doctor, Jean went to a doctor, and the doctor changed the way they were doing things. And I could tell you a vet in Coburg, Ontario, changed how they were treating knees because of what we did with Porter.
Yeah. And it's so funny. You can tell how passionate you and I are about all of this because it's 20 minutes later and we said we'd only be 15 like we always do it. But I just want to also mention, and I didn't get a chance to tell Jean, as soon as he started talking about sugar, so my husband, so Jay's grandparents, you know, they came over here from Latvia in the 1970s. My grandmother-in-law played tennis into her 80s. They lived such a healthy, active lifestyle. But I will never forget being a teenager. So we're talking about, guys, don't kill me, the 1980s, being at their house, and they were already talking about sugar and the connection to, I'm sorry, I don't want to end on a negative note, but the connection to diseases and things like that. They were recognizing that like sugar might not be something that we want to be consuming on a daily. So again, Jean hit sugar today and I'm telling you, it is so important.
And starving the cells that are bad for you. Napoleon Hill, I was doing studying with the Napoleon Hill on the mental pillar, and Napoleon Hill used to fast. And we're talking about major fast once or twice a year for 10 days. And you go into it, right? And he went to a doctor under a doctor's care because he wanted to starve something that was wrong in his body. And he did. And does it work for everybody? I'm not a doctor, but I'm going to tell you one thing. This fasting thing, there's something to it to look into. So
oh my gosh, we could talk at length about this.
So we will talk at length. We're going to be back again. All of December is committed to this, the rest of November, and we'll see you, and we'll get Jean here next week or the week after.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah.
I'd love that.
Thank you. I'll see you.
All right, I'll see you at 7 at book club.
Yeah.
Okay, bye everybody.
Bye.